over the next few days, we'll be putting a shade cloth up over the RV. This side of the RV gets a lot of sun. It's the south facing side, and so it's just baking the inside in this 90-degree weather. The air conditionings are having a hard time keeping up. It's really killing my solar battery, so we're going to take a break from the projects that we need to do to get the cabin systems up. I've got a buddy who's letting me borrow his jackhammer, and it's my first time using a jackhammer, so I've practiced with it a little bit already, and I've got one hole already dug, deep enough to put a 5-gallon bucket in, because you can't even dig more than 6 inches without hitting an enormous rock. So the jackhammer was pretty useful breaking it up, and then I was able to scoop it out with my hands. While I was scooping, we get these wind dust devils. They come through so fast even on a calm day, but one came through while I was knee deep in this hole. I'm on my hands and knees scooping, and all of a sudden I hear this whooshing noise and things blowing around. It was one of these dust devils coming through, so I quick covered my eyes, I plugged my nose and just kind of ducked for cover, and it just blew right over my head and down the driveway. You could see all the dust just spinning in a circle. When I first moved here, I thought it was going to be a rare thing, but you just look out as you're driving the road nearby, and you can see these dust devils in the distance just towering over houses, and it's amazing that we can even live here. So with the shade cloth, we're going to put 5 4x4 posts in the ground, cemented into a 5-gallon bucket. And I am a little bit worried with those flash dust devils coming through that it might take the shade cloth for a ride. I did buy shade cloth with a lot of grommets all along every 2 feet, so hopefully the extra support already wired into the fabric is going to aid with that not blowing around and causing too much damage. So one of the main priorities of the shade cloth is to alleviate the need to supplement the solar generator with the actual fuel sucking generator there. I've got a new one that I'm running on propane just to have a much cleaner energy output. It's not as much energy output as you get with a gas model, but it's getting enough to where it is breaking even with the air conditioner. It's a little smaller than maybe what I should have gone with, but ultimately with the solar generator I'd rather pump more money into more panels, I guess, and then not have to worry about fuel so often. But we've got a small generator. It'll be good for just carrying around the homestead with powering other tools and things like that as we get going in other locations. So with hole number 1, I was using my hands and knees and just digging out the dirt. I'm going to try a shovel. They haven't been too great in the past with all the rock. And I also have a little post hole digger. So we'll try those 2 methods. See if I like those better than just scooping them out like a dog. So a little shovel works pretty well. Just kind of use it like almost like a oar to just scoop a little bit more out at a time. And the tip does get cut up on the rocks, and I got a root to contend with. So we'll try the post hole digger now. bucket. Maybe 7 more inches to go, or a little less. And widen out the bottom a little bit. Should be good. All right, we got a heat advisory. It is hot still. I'm taking breaks, and my camera keeps overheating, but we are continuing the work. Let's get this rest of the hole dug. I tried shading the camera with a little board, but had forced the camera to just face the ground, so we missed some of the digging. But we are even there with the 5-gallon bucket. I think my tape is a little off center. The chair moved down there, but I think up against there is pretty much center with that one there. And we're gonna get to doing the other ones, unless my glasses fell off. Forgot about that. I look like a totally different person. But ooh, they're hot now. So I've got 1, 2, 3 more holes to dig. I'll have 5 posts total. 2 sheets of 24-foot long shade cloth, 50% shade cloth. And we'll see you when I've got some of these holes dug, and we'll probably be putting some concrete in next. This will be an intermission to whatever video we're playing right now. But we have exciting news in Duck Kingdom. My kids just told me that 2 more babies hatched. I don't know where they're at. Are they in this one? No. They put a bunch of question mark eggs in there that we weren't sure if they were going to hatch or not. You got new babies? Huh? Is there new babies in here? Oh, oh there is. And these are our 2 babies that are about a week and a half old, maybe like 10 days.
Yeah.
Ish. Look how fluffy and cute they are. Their bells are getting so much bigger. Back to your regularly scheduled hole digging. So I was digging with the pickaxe last night a little bit. I ended up hitting solid rock right down there. And then, oh, that is rock. That is a job for Mr. Jackhammer. Oof. Alright, we got a little bit more to go. Just a couple inches. We'll just keep digging a little bit. Hopefully my last one is a little further away. And hopefully that one doesn't cause so much trouble. Alright, 5th bucket done. Not too bad for the rock. It was a little bit of digging. We got through it. Nothing like this big behemoth that I got out earlier. Hole number 4. Big problems, but we got it out. Now next step is to do the concrete and the 4x4 posts, and then we'll put the shade cloth up and do like a little energy cost analysis, see what's going on. If my solar takes a break, or my Jolim generators can take a little break, that'd be awesome. Hey guys, it's been a very windy past couple days, a lot of warnings and such, especially for fires, and it's been hard to be motivated to be outside. Speaking of fires, we have one that started out on that mountain right behind it. It escalated pretty quickly while we were out of town, well, out of this town and in town. My son had a soccer game, and by the time we came back, that was over 100 acres burned. But they've got it theoretically contained. The wind is blowing away from our place. The wind has virtually destroyed all of my insulated board thing here. It's looking pretty nasty back there, but I'm going to continue on with the project at hand. We're going to try and cement the poles in. First, we're painting them. I'm just using regular 4x4 fir wood or whatever it is. And we got Vienna helping me. We got our holes, just don't fall in. There she is. Hi. And we're painting these boards black. Job. Did it. Uh-oh, I just got paint all over my tripod. Alright, time for dinner, so we'll see you shortly. Bye! Dinner's over. Yum yum. Thanks to my son, her little brother Harlow, for cooking tonight. Now we're just gonna move these dry beams over here and then start some fresh ones. 3 more to go. And we put up 1 pole there, 1 pole here. Very tall. They're taller than the RV. Got 3 more to go. It's going pretty well. And here we go. So I'm going to attach the shade cloth across there, and then across the whole length of the RV, and that will hopefully block the sun. The whole goal of this project. Five holes dug, 5 poles painted, 5 poles set in concrete. Da-da-da, they're all pretty straight. And they are ready for, what, like high hooks to go through the grommets and a lot of rope, I guess. That's the next step to figure out. They're a little taller than I thought they'd be, so I'm not really really sure how I'm gonna install those things with my little ladder. But I guess I probably should install some hardware up there first. We have a total of 7 ducklings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have a total of 6 ducklings. Look at these little babies. Mom's not happy. We had to hide Uma, who was over in this corner. She's in that house by herself because she's getting picked on and wouldn't sit on our eggs anymore. We're not even sure if they're viable eggs, but she was supposed to have these 2 ducklings that are floating around, but she didn't really take to them. I guess she was too busy sitting on eggs and getting picked on, so we kept finding her like behind the pool or in between the pallet slats and the fencing, hiding from Whitehead here. That is Perona Lisa, I think. I don't really know. So she was a bully, so we had to put Uma, who was sitting on eggs in that little pen by herself with her own little water and food. Our old Rue is still just sitting on eggs that probably aren't any good anymore. But we got her chick, one baby chick, getting pretty large. About 10, maybe 12 days old now. You cutie, huh? You little cutie. Good afternoon. The wind has died down today, so I had to get some laundry out while it's not a crazy wild wind. And we're going to continue the pole work here, just burying the rest of those. It's a pretty big mess back on this side of the RV, so hopefully getting this project done as soon as possible will lend me to clean up some of this area. So it's embarrassing, but we're in the middle of about 15 different projects, and here we are. This should be fun. All right, we've got a ladder. We're gonna be testing the strength of my cement pole, I guess, because I didn't put the drill holes in or the hardware in until it was 16 feet in the air. So this is what we're doing. We're gonna get up there. All right, that went halfway decent. My drill bit isn't long enough, which I kind of knew, so I got to come through the other side. And this is a shade cloth. I thought I got 2 of them, 2 24-foot long, 24 by 12. So I'm gonna put this corner up first next and see how it looks as far as height goes. So I got some pretty long bolts. I think they're 6 inches. I just wanted to make sure I had enough length. They're a little bit long on the end. And then I bought an extra larger washer for the back side of that wood versus the small little one that it came with. They're like 1-inch washers. So I wanted something that would go all the way through the wood and not just like some screws, the screw eye bolts, because I don't want the wind like just ripping those things out. Got some carabiners. I ended up, I guess, getting smaller than I thought they would be, but they still work. still work. We got smoke from the pocket fire near Sedona. It's over 20,000 acres. A couple hours away from us, but that smoke is traveling. It's always a pretty neat view up here. Ooh. And that is called DIY. Probably not the safest do it yourself, but oh. Well, I'm hoping this actually does what it's supposed to do and block some sun. It looks like the sun might be too high right now to provide any shade. I don't know. We shall see. Hopefully this isn't just a giant disappointment. Alright, well, that's the corner I need, so that's fun. Well, you missed the one where that one tipped forward while I was at the top. So luckily we're done with all the top ones, and I got a much safer way. I can reach everything else from the ladder, just like this, or standing. So much better, less scary. Had my heart racing, but the ladder just kind of fell forward with the pole onto the RV, which wasn't too bad. All right, there it is. I got one side up, and we should be providing some level of shade back here. It's a little bit high in the day, so the sun's like right over top, but for the first part of the day, they should provide pretty good shade. And I'll check in with you in the morning. Here we are with that update. Definitely not the next day as promised. It's been probably a month or so since I've had this installed. Part of the reason for that delay in update is we had negligible results. So the shade cloth isn't really providing enough shade as it was supposed to, due to the angling of the sun. Right now it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're still getting broadsided there. And in the early morning it still covers, but only maybe like up to here when the shade is like really close. But we did stretch that second piece over. I ended up not putting it on that side, and we just kind of roped it on top of the RV. So earlier in the video I talked about the small generator, and that was not able to run both of our air conditioning units on the RV. So I kind of freaked out and heard the cries of my family, and we got this big generator from Home Depot. It's like a 12,000 watt generator, has the 50 amp outlet, so I can switch over directly to the RV, run that on 50 amp. That was using a lot of propane. I just actually got back from filling up my containers. So I've got 200-pound tanks and then 2 20-pound tanks, and I was blowing through those plus some in a week. So not only did I spend a bunch of money on that big generator, I also ordered a mini split, and it took a couple weeks, but I got that installed, and I got that wired up and hooked into the RV, and that has really significantly lowered our energy usage. So now instead of running 1700 watts of the rooftop air conditioner, this thing only takes 1200 at max, and it actually does its job of cooling down, where I was just blowing through energy at the top for the rooftop units, and they weren't even really keeping up in the 90 to 98 degree heat. So inside we've got the mini split unit hooked up here, blowing nice cool cold air, and then I've still got to wrap around the wires, but otherwise that is keeping things very cool. And that is the final update. Shade cloth, kind of a waste of time, and I might repurpose those poles and the shade cloth for like a garden or something like that. And then also the mini split has been a huge game changer. Now instead of going weekly for propane, I only have to go like every other week, and we're still battling 90s heat. We did have a couple cool days in the 70s, but we're back into the 90s for hopefully not too much longer. So thanks for watching this extra long video. If you made it this far, really appreciate you following and subscribing and doing all the things. Bye.